Hello my friends and welcome to the Flying Reporter. I've just finished filming my latest aerodrome review at Toaston, which hopefully you've seen by now. It was great to have a look around these modern facilities and meet the team here. But now I'm heading back home to Red Hill in India Victor, and I'd like to share some personal news and an experience I've been through recently, which I think we can all take something from. Make yourself comfortable, sit back and prepare yourself for an announcement. These filming days are pretty intense. There's all that camera and sound equipment to lug around. I have to stick to the schedule, get all the filming done and be back at base by sunset. There's the pressure of not screwing up the sound and pictures, which is a real danger when you're self-operating everything. And on top of all that, there's usually a flight or two to plan and execute safely. It might sound like a lot, but with precision planning and preparation and allowing plenty of time to get my head back into the cockpit before flight, it actually works out very well. There are a few showers around up here today and it's a bit turbulent, so I'm cruising more slowly than usual. But other than that, it's business as usual today. As I settle into the flight and before I have to navigate controlled airspace around Farnborough, I have time to share a personal story. So, what did I want to talk to you about? I've been a bit nervous about whether to mention this. Basically, I was worried that this would make me look weak, spent, useless. I don't know. And then somebody said to me, people like to know about me and the challenges that I face and that kind of thing. And I've been facing a bit of a challenge privately for a while now. Now, this has all felt like a pretty major deal for me, but actually, in the grand scheme of things, what I've been going through is very common. For the type of flying I do, I have a Class 2 medical. Because I'm over 50, I have to see an AME, a specialist aviation doctor, every year, and my annual once-over by the doc came up in January just gone. I was a bit nervous because last year my blood pressure was a little bit higher than it should be, so I'd been taking readings and I thought they were all right. But when I arrived in the consulting room, the AME said, even though my reading actually on the day wasn't as bad as it was last year, when they looked at all of my readings for the last month, I'd been taking readings for a month, they weren't happy with the readings. Now from an NHS perspective, my blood pressure wasn't like really, really high, but for a flight, there's a higher threshold for flying. And I think also my AME wanted to give me a bit of a kick up the bum. And so basically said to me, I'm going to give you a medical for 2 months and I want this sorted out in 2 months. So I had a restricted medical. I had a remote appointment with my GP who told me my readings weren't terrible. We discussed it and we thought in the time frame that I had it was best that I go on medication. So I went on some medication. And almost instantly, I started suffering a sort of cramping pains in my feet and my joints. And I got to the point where I couldn't walk without being in extreme agony. I was shuffling around everywhere. I had to cancel all of the kind of work that I'd been doing, and I literally was resting up at home for 2 weeks. Now, I would have had to have been grounded flying-wise for a week, the AME said, because of the new medication. But these effects that I was getting, I wasn't sure if they were side effects or something completely coincidental, meant I was unfit to fly. For the AME to give me an unrestricted medical, I need to have my blood pressure under control and be free of side effects. But it was looking like my blood pressure medication was playing havoc with my body. After 2 weeks, I was still unable to walk, and so made an appointment at my local doctor's. And I spoke to the registrar at my surgery and they said we agreed that I would come off the medication, the blood pressure medication. As soon as I did, I started recovering from this joint pain. So that was a bit of a thing. Meanwhile, I've been trying to look after myself and I'd been losing weight, I'd been cutting down on the alcohol I drank, I was eating better, I'd stopped snacking in the evenings, that kind of thing. And by natural means, I'd brought my blood pressure down really, really low. I mean, you know, completely healthy low. So I was off the medication and my blood pressure was fine, and I thought, yippee! I can go back to my AME and say, yeah, the blood pressure's good, you know, we don't need to worry, give me my medical back, or extend my medical certificate.
A huge weight had been lifted. I could fly again. At least that's what I thought. But there was more bad news to come. When I started the blood pressure medication, I had to have an ECG and a wide-ranging blood test. The ECG came back completely normal, but the blood test showed I had type 2 diabetes.
I just thought, well, that's it. I'm not going to be able to fly now. That's where I was about 3 or 4 weeks ago, or something like that. Thought, how am I going to challenge? How am I going to tackle this? You know, what am I going to say to the AME? What's the AME going to say to me? I was looking on the CAA website, and it all looked very worrying and frightening. But the AME was great. The AME asked for a few things: cholesterol readings, my current weight. He did, you know, the readings of the sugar, you know, the HB1AC reading or whatever it's called. And I'd had a meeting with the diabetic nurse already, and the AME said, look, it's fine as long as we monitor it and you keep, you know, you go to your reviews with your GP and your nurse, and you update your records, and you tell me, we're all fine. You know, as long as there's no other symptoms that have been caused by the diabetes, you know, we're fine. So that was a relief. Blood pressure was down. I've got diabetes too, and now I'm dieting to try and reverse the diabetes, which I don't know how easy that is going to be to do, but you know, I've got to do something to improve my health. But yeah, I was really worried about sharing that with you, but it was at my AME actually that said to me, why don't you talk about it? Because it kind of shows that I think what my AME was thinking was that if I share with you, you know, this kind of vulnerability and the fact that I've had a reasonable experience of it, you know, it's been, you know, the fact that the AME has caught this early in essence by, you know, not being happy with the blood pressure readings. He could have probably let me go another year, for all honesty, but was trying to kick me up the bum. So, you know, having these medicals has actually been a really good thing. Hopefully it will mean that I can get on top of this, reverse the diabetes and become a much healthier person. I'm not on any medication for any of it. We're going to try and do it by just diet and looking after myself. Right, we need to get a controlled airspace transit of Farnborough, so let's check we're on their frequency, 13344. Farnborough radar, Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, request zone transit.
Station calling, say again, full call sign only.
Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor.
Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, Farnborough radar, pass your message.
Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, PA28 Arrow to Western to Red Hill, Henley on Thames, altitude 2,300 feet, VFR, request zone transit, Woodley to Guildford, VFR, and a basic outside.
Golf India Victor, QNH 1009, a basic service, squawk 0460.
QNH 1009, basic service, squawk 0460, Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor.
I want to say a quick thank you to Anglian Flight Centres for supporting the Flying Reporter. The team at Earl's Cone and the flying school there have been a great help and source of motivation. Some of the gang there have been aware of the challenges I've been going through and are always on hand to give me their advice and support. Do check out their website, especially if you live in Essex, Suffolk or Cambridgeshire and are looking for a reputable school at which to learn to fly. And I just want to remind you that I'll be at Aero Expo at Northampton Sywell this coming June 2023. I'm hoping to fly in with India Victor. For some reason, they want to put this aged PA28 on static display. I'll have to get polishing and vacuuming to make it look its best. I'm hoping to do some meet-up sessions there too, so do get your tickets now. The link is on your screen and I hope in the video description as well.
Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, cleared to enter Farnborough control zone. VFR, not above altitude, 2,000 feet to hold at M3 junction 4.
Cleared to enter Farnborough CTR, VFR, not above altitude, 2,000 feet, hold north of M3 junction 4, Golf India Victor.
Golf India Victor, correct.
2000, it's always 2000, so mustn't forget that. Easy to forget the 2000 limit because I stay high for Reading here, and the Reading and Wokingham area, which is quite built up, so I stay at 2.3, and then I can easily forget that I need to descend for the CTR.
Juliet India contact London Control 133.180.
I like this controller, very calm, nice voice.
India, good day. From radar, HT1, request traffic service.
HT1 Faber radar, patch message.
HT1 breaching from south end to Oxford, currently at 4,000 feet, CA40. Currently breaching direct to Compton and then straight into Oscar X-ray. Request traffic service.
HT1 Squawk 0431 is a basic service initial upgrade you when I can, QNH is 1009.
Basic service, QNH 1009 and Squawk 0431, HT1.
Golf India Victor, hold at M3 junction 4 is cancelled. You can cross farmer controlled airspace remaining outside the Heathrow zone.
Hold cancelled, transit the zone, remain outside Heathrow, Golf India Victor. Red Hill Tower, Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, inbound with Whiskey, QNH 1009er.
Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, Red Hill Tower, flash message.
Golf Bravo Mike, India Victor, PA28 arrow, 1 miles to the northwest. Information Whiskey 1009er, inbound from Turweston 1 POB, request join.
Golf India Victor, Squawk 3767, report motorway junction. Raymond has just left Buckland, now with Heathrow on his way to Sunbury.
Roger, Squawk 3767, report junction, Golf India Victor.
Golf India Victor, join right base number 2.
Join right base number 2, Golf India Victor.
A few of you have told me recently that they'd like to see more of the departure and arrival parts of my flights. They tend to be rather repetitive, so I've got into a habit of cutting them down, but let's try and keep this one long and loose.
Undercarriage mixture, fuel, landing light, carby, direction indicator. Doors are locked, strapped in.
And that's the Unfit check, the pre-landing check, not the downwind check, the pre-landing check we call it. And I'm descending to below 1,400 feet to be below the Gatwick CTA. I've been up high here because I was told to hold at the junction, and the terrain's quite high, so I crept north of the Gatwick CTA, got a bit of height, did my orbits until I was cleared in, and then I had to descend below 1,400 feet on the QNH. So that's me putting down 2 stages of flap. I obviously check first that my airspeed is below 103 knots, which is the flap limit speed. Put in 2 stages of flap on base leg. You can see the M23 motorway just out the right window. I've just done a reds, blues, greens check, which is checking the mixture. The propeller's fully fine and the undercarriage is down with 3 greens. Really important that you actually do check those things. Otherwise your day could turn very bad if you get it wrong, especially with the undercarriage, of course.
Papa Charlie, holding at Bravo 2, ready for departure. Golf in Oscar, straight on back to club.
Straight back to club, Golf into Oscar.
Papa Charlie, line at runway 24, right-hand circuits, 1,200 feet. Right-hand circuits, runway 24, 1,200 feet. Golf, Papa Charlie.
Now that concerned me because I'm about to turn final. That aircraft is lining up from a whole point quite a long way short of the runway.
Golf India Victor, final runway 24 to land.
Golf, Papa Charlie, line at clear, now cancel, hold position, acknowledge.
Holding position, Golf Papa Charlie.
Golf India Victor, runway 24, surface wind 290 degrees, 10 knots, clear to land and roll to the end, Delta 2.
Clear to land runway 24, roll to the end, Delta 2, Golf India Victor.
I expect it was just the controller had just momentarily lost a bit of situational awareness with my position in the circuit, but you know, we'll forgive Chris for that. And here we are crossing the motorway. Got a good stable rate of descent, good airspeed. Looking for 75 knots typically. It varies depending on how much weight the airplane is today. Could be as little as 72 knots actually on final. Runway 24 is a very short, thin bit of taxiway, 498 metres, so really I want to get it down on the numbers, but there is a bit of an overshoot at the end. I don't land particularly short today.
Golf Charlie, line at runway 24.
Line up runway 24, Golf Papa Charlie.
And I got quite good at holding that nose wheel off on the Arrow. You know, all those years of flying a PA-28, I was never particularly great at doing that. The PA-28s don't want to... They've got a great tendency to land flat. And the Arrow is particularly nose heavy. So it takes quite a bit of effort and skill to keep the nose wheel off when you touch down. But it doesn't stay off for long. It very quickly plonks down on the runway, and it makes a bit of a clonk as it does so. Actually, when you look at the outside cameras, it is touching down quite lightly, in fact. First time I've been told to come up this end of the runway and hold.
Golf Charlie, runway 24, wind 280 degrees, 10 knots, clear takeoff.
Golf, clear for takeoff, 1,200 feet, 1,200 feet, Golf Papa Charlie.
And that's me doing my after landing checks. Typically transponder to standby, landing light off, flaps up, trimmer set neutral, non-essential avionics off, and I'm noting my landing time.
Coming in to backtrack runway 24, taxi to park.
Backtrack 24, taxi to parking, Golf Victor. Oh, there we are, we're back at Red Hill. Nice afternoon here, a few showers about. And I shall head on home and look forward to a healthy evening meal. With no snacks.
If you'd like to show your support and appreciation for these videos, please consider signing up to my Supporters Club. You can watch a whole host of bonus content, including unedited flights, tips, and behind-the-scenes content, such as how much did it cost me to do the top-end overhaul of India Victor's engine, and how do I edit my videos. You can get a 1-month free trial to the club right now through my website or on Patreon. And don't forget that Flying Reporter followers can get a 5% discount off qualifying purchases at Pooley's Flight Equipment. Go to their online store, select your products and input my code TFR at the checkout. That really is your lot right now. I'll say goodbye, and until next time, fly safely, my friends.